Thank you for staying with us. In Kaduna State, armed bandits have reportedly attacked another community within Kajuru local government area of the state, abducting at least 87 individuals. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, who visited Kaduna, warned that the military will go hard on all those denying the nation peace. Our correspondent, Lupe Asum, has details.
The alarming increase in kidnapping incidents within Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State is disturbing. In the latest attack, at least 87 individuals, including minors and babies, were whisked away from Kajuru station. This incident follows closely on the heels of previous abductions, bringing the total number of kidnapped individuals in less than 2 weeks to 162. The Defense Chief, General Christopher Musa, has come to Kaduna to assess the situation and coordinate efforts to ensure the safe return of those kidnapped. Expressing grave concerns, General Musa emphasized the perpetrators' agenda to undermine the federal and state governments, portraying them as weak.
Abduction, as we know, is a social activity. People are doing it for their own sake. Some are doing it to bring down the government, to make the government look weak. But we guarantee that this will end. We are doing everything possible to ensure that we achieve success, and we will achieve success. We are also trying to stop it, to make sure that it does. But what we require is for Nigerians to give us support. Most times when we get information, it comes in a bit late. Before we react to get there, it is late. But we're happy with the way people are responding. You can see from what happened in Delta State, how Nigerians are responding. Everybody supporting the armed forces and the security forces. That is what will ginger the troops to continue to do more.
He issues a stern warning to the perpetrators, reaffirming the military's unwavering commitment to safeguarding citizens.
But you, the parents, we know you have been spending sleepless nights. We equally are doing the same. We are with you in this. I will continue to be with this. And Your Excellency, want to assure you that we will put in everything possible. We are making some adjustments to ensure that Kaduna is secured, the Northwest is secured, Nigeria is secured. Because everybody is tired of what's going on. And for those individuals that have sworn that there will be no peace, they will have no peace. We will ensure that we follow them up wherever they are. And those ones that are sponsoring them and encouraging them to do the same, for their own good, they should stop.
Here in Kaduna, like I said, we are doing everything to ensure that we protect the lives and properties of our citizens. Because we believe the protection of life and properties of our citizens is the most important responsibility of our government.
As efforts intensify to address the crisis, the collective determination to restore peace and security in Kajuru and beyond remains steadfast. Lupe Asum, TVC News, Kaduna.
Joining us in our Abuja studio is the President, CEO, Security Watch Africa Initiative, Security and Public Safety Expert, Patrick Agbambu. Good morning, Patrick. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Now, this matter is quite concerning because this is coming on the heels of a previous kidnap. And the number of kidnapped persons in about 2 weeks is, or less than 2 weeks, is about 156. Now, one is wondering how it is that this huge number of persons can be easily moved out of a particular locality without any form of security presence to stop them. And is this a failure of intelligence? Because what really is going on is quite concerning.
Thank you. It's a sad situation that we have found ourselves. I think that everybody that is involved in that area need to change what is happening there. When I say everybody, I mean the community, the leaders in those areas, and the security agencies. We know that the security agencies cannot be everywhere because of strength, and it's not even possible for them to. But what has happened is, yes, failure on the part of intelligence. Secondly, is that communities have not bought into the art of helping the security forces. What I mean here now again is, you see, once there's an incident, before the security personnel gets to know about it, some youths in those communities, some leaders in those communities, some elected officials, both federal and state, already knew, and they communicate to the media, and the security forces may not know, they may get to know via the media, and before they start reacting, it's already too late. I think that with the technology which we have now, which makes it possible for communication to be faster, we expect that if there are any infringement, if there is any attack or anything that threatens the life of the people, the first contact should be to reach the security forces to help to react. I make reference to the kidnap of the school children. Information gathered was that these kidnappers were in this community a night before they struck, and none of the community members who saw them, none of them made any attempt. In the morning, they approached the school and they carried out this operation for some minutes, which was enough to alert the security agencies. But before they could alert the security agencies, some persons, some officials of some elected members, either in the federal or state, are already aware and they're already contacting the media. I think the people need to help themselves. Security forces, and that is the truth, we must admit that they can't be there everywhere. Again, is that we are being a reactive country instead of being proactive. There are factors that could have prevented all this, and it's not being done. The civil police intelligence team have not been able to get into these communities, into all these places to get information clearly and process it. And that is why we're experiencing what we're doing now. Like he pointed out, how possible is it to move this? Imagine moving 286 children or people out of the communities. How did they do it? By motorcycles. Where did they get these motorcycles? From within the communities, it was rented. They do business with them, and nothing is being done. And it's a big problem that has to be tackled headlong, because the truth remains that the security forces cannot be physically present everywhere to protect us.
Yes, and I would like to ask you, based on that submission, that the security agencies' personnel cannot be everywhere because they're not ubiquitous. But isn't it time for us to have enough of them to be everywhere? Because the way the situation is now shows that there is need for us to have every presence, or maybe not heavy presence, but probably increase our intelligence and all of that. In what way do you think? I don't know whether you agree with the fact that there should be enough security everywhere, and how do you think we can go about this? Is that to say that it is time for the government to implement the state policing or the forest guard, which the president had touted earlier in his speech?
Yeah, you see, you just said it. Today in Nigeria, we have so many ungoverned spaces, so many places that you do not have any presence of either security forces or activities going on, and these have provided what I call sanctuaries, safe havens for these criminals, bandits, and whatever they are. And it's so sad. Now, in the country, in the past, we used to have forest guards, but for some reasons, they are no longer in operation, and they have left those forests to become a stronghold and controlled by these bandits and terrorists and secessionists and whoever. And this has become a very big challenge. Talking about improving the manpower, yes, it's very, very important to improve the manpower, because the United Nations ratio for policing is 400 citizens to a policeman. But in Nigeria, with the number of policemen we have in the country and our population, I think I must say it's like 3,000 citizens or more to a policeman. And so we are falling so far short of the strength that we need. But the government would say lean resources. And because of that, they can't carry out mass recruitment of personnel. The previous government started by saying 10,000 police should be recruited every year. But I can tell you that that is not being met for some reasons, because the resources to do that is not available. And so what do? We employ technology and the people. The people they play more role, 60% role in making sure that their areas are protected. And that is by providing timely information. Yes, some of these communities that are open for attacks are communities that are far-flung from most of the activities. And so the terrain is difficult to assess sometimes. And you can access some of these communities either by motorcycles, but not with or very rugged vehicles because of lack of development, which I would tell you that the governments, the political leaders have not helped our security situation, because I believe that by now, development in terms of road infrastructure, technological improvement should have been what we experience in this country. But today, so many communities cannot be easily accessed, even by the security forces. In the past, the military introduced a motorcycle brigade, which helps to assess some of these terrains. But again, lack of resources has also affected it. I believe that it's time and it's very expedient for the government to resuscitate the forest guard, resuscitate the motorcycle brigade of the military, Nigerian Army particularly, and get more people employed to the security forces. It's not on the issue of state police, because we will have even worse situation than we are having now. Some states, as we speak, have not been paying their civil servants, and imagine what it is having security forces that you have given arms not being paid for 1 month, 2 months. Then it's going to create more problems for us. I think that what we should do is that community policing, community engagement, the people must trust security forces, no matter what political divide. And these are the problems we are having. Some Nigerians will say, look, whatever happened is not their business because of either their political interest or their tribal sentiments. This is sad. In developed countries, you see people get involved in so many ways in providing security. There's no country where you have security personnel everywhere. It's not possible. Technology helps to provide information, but before you use this technology, there are some infrastructures. What is the light situation, electricity that we have in the country? So there are a lot of things that we need to do if we must improve this security problem and solve the security problem we are having.
I like the fact that you mentioned the role of government not providing basic necessities in terms of, over the years, accessible roads are not in some of these places, lights and all of that. We are not seeing those infrastructure in some of these communities. Means that the government itself is failing on its part to deliver on its role at ensuring the security of lives and property, providing the necessary structures needed. But then if we know that if we carried out risk assessment, especially in communities like this, and we know that they are vulnerable to attacks, can't we make sure that we have the presence of some level of security in these communities to avert these kinds of attacks, even though we know we cannot have security presence everywhere, but because we have carried out risk assessment, we should know what to do?
Yeah, it's a very valid point you have mentioned there, having security forces at least close to all these trouble spots. But when you look at which of these trouble spots are we talking about today, it seems as if the country is under siege in terms of security, because the military is fighting in the northeast. Then the northwest is having its own terrible situation right now as we speak. Southeast is also there. Just recently, the Mother Valley was raided by the security forces, and a lot of recoveries were made, and that is terrible. I know that the military, as we speak, particularly the Nigerian Army, is carrying out a serious operation as we speak in Kuyambaya forest, which borders about 4 to 5 states. That is the situation, very vast forest. And this is where these bandits are staying. The former governor of Kaduna State had once said, because I said this on this station about 3 years ago, that maybe we should use the strategy that had worked in the Northeast, particularly fighting the insurgent Boko Haram and all that, which made citizens to leave some of these trouble spots. Some of them are in some other places where it's easy for security forces to provide security to them, to give leeway, to give freedom for serious and intensive military operations in this forest. Because some of these communities are just at the periphery and the fringes of this forest. When there are supposed to be a military operations, you have to consider hold back because of collateral damages. And sometimes these bandits use these communities as a hideout to protect themselves, because they know that security forces will not deliberately want to strike this. And sometimes when they are being pursued, they run into these communities, and the security forces have to stop because they can't just kill citizens anyhow. The then governor, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, said that these communities in those areas should be vacated so that the military can carry out both air and land bombardment. I think that is the immediate solution that will be. I know that there will be a lot of cost, discomfort, and resources has to be deployed. But in the long run, it will help us for the military to level down most of all these forests. Anybody who tries to escape then can be arrested. That is what should help us in the interim, while we will improve on the strength of our security forces. The use of technology, government must make sure that this is being used effectively, because it's important. Some places cannot be reached by these security forces, but technology can monitor and report to the control centers, and this will aid quickly reactions of security forces. But more importantly, is being preventive. And when we talk about being preventive, we need the political class to make sure that things that encourage or agitate and increase the number of insecurity in the country is taken care of. People are hungry. Unemployment is there. So any opportunity to make earnings, some people have to embrace it. And the communities along in the fringes of this forest are doing business daily with these bandits. And that has to be discouraged. And that is one of the things that we need to seriously follow. Then we need to infiltrate these communities, infiltrate the security forces, need to infiltrate these communities, infiltrate this forest by whatever means, and ensure that these people are taken off from their area where they strike. Other than this, we may continue to be hearing this. Everywhere in the country right now is experiencing problem, but I know that the military operations have helped to reduce it. The Abuja, Kaduna angles, as this have been taken care of. The Northeast, the Maiduguri and Lake Chad business is also being worked on. The Southeast has also improved drastically with the recent action that is being carried out. And this Northeast must also be intensified. The Operation Hadri in Daji and the various security forces there should improve on what they are doing. Yes, they are trying their best. The effort is every day they are going on mission, but the communities have to assist by looking at discomfort themselves a bit than what we're experiencing now. Imagine the number of children, 287 children or 86 children being taken. And these bandits are using them as shield, using them to protect themselves from being attacked, because the military will not want to strike with these children being there. While discussions and soft means are being worked out to get these children released, a strategic and more offensive operations has to be carried out.
All right. Patrick, let's quickly put you on hold and go on a break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation with you. You stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Before we went on break, we were speaking with a guest in our Abuja studio who is security and public safety expert, Patrick Agbambu, on developments coming out of Kaduna State, where recently a number of individuals, about 87 of them, were abducted from their homes in Kajuru local government area of the state. And Patrick, you were talking about how important it is for the people of the community to support security personnel, especially with information gathering, intelligence, so that they can get some support from the military as it is. Because if you look at the statement made from the defense headquarters, they said that they did not get the information in time, and that is why we are seeing some of these incidents happen as we speak. But how can we improve on the relationship between the people, that's the community, and the police? We know there is a trust deficit, which is a matter that we have been speaking about over the years. But right now, we need to build that trust. How do we go about it? Patrick?
Trust deficit. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I said the trust deficit is the largest factor that is creating the lack of information and timely information to the security forces. And it's not that these people do not trust the security forces, but for two reasons. One, over the years, these people have suffered government neglect. And so they see the security forces as an agent of government and transfer, should I say, aggression to the security forces. Two, it's the point that these people, these bandits and these criminals provide carrots to them. What I mean by carrots is that, in fact, they are like government. They are the ones that provide succor for them since the government cannot do it. So they have more belief, more trust. They tend to support even these bandits. In the long run, these bandits come after them and create this problem because a criminal will always be a criminal, no matter how friendly he or she is to you. And the people must begin to trust in the government. Yes, either for over years they have been neglected, but because of the lives that are being threatened, being killed, being ransacked, in Kajuru, the incident that happened there is terrible because the people's homes were raided, foods were taken away, so many things were taken because, of course, these bandits are also suffering in the forest where they are. So they will come in and take food and take in all these things to go and all that. Sometimes they tax these communities. So they suffer these communities. And that is why I think that the communities themselves must believe in the security forces and provide information. Instead of, first of all, going to public with your information, get across, There are means of contacting these security forces that is easy. The police is there. The nearby police station is there. Pass information. If you think you cannot contact the police, maybe for one reason or the other, then reach out to the military settlement. But the strength, the position, the formation of the military is far-flung from some of these communities. I wish you visit some of these communities where we are talking, because in some of these communities, I have visited them, and I tell you, it's quite terrible to reach or access these communities, and that makes it very difficult for reactions for
so shouldn't governments now, state governments, begin to look at addressing some of these challenges that is more of their responsibility, so that we can build the trust needed and address these issues once and for all?
Okay, now over the years, there's non-existence of government or governance in the local levels, in the community level. Like you know that some states don't have existing local government authorities, as to speak. So these governors sitting at the capital of the states directly administer what happens in those local governments. And so the people do not have the impact so much of the local government. In this country, there used to be what they call local government roads and all state roads and all that. But nothing is being done in all those local government roads, unless in some of the cities, some of the urban cities, you see some activities going on. But some elected local government officials are not even in their communities, in their local government. They will go to the urban cities and stay and share the money. So it's been a big problem, and that is why the communities do not trust the government, and that is the truth. They will rather have their trust on their oppressors, put their trust in these kidnappers and all that, than to trust the government and the security forces. I believe that they should change the system. The National Orientation Agency has a lot of work to do in this regard. They need to reach out. I was just communicating with a friend in the Gambia, and every community, they have viewing centers where they show the communities what to do. They gather and watch this. They watch cinema to tell them. And by the hello.
Carry on. We can hear you. Carry on. Mr. Patrick, carry on. We can hear you.
Can I change what?
Carry on. We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Yes, like I was saying, the country, I will just mention that the Gambia. The National Orientation Bureau is going from different communities, trying to sensitize the people and buy the trust of the people. I think that the Nigerian Orientation Agency must adopt such systems. We used to have those days where in villages, they come to show what we call cinema. They come to tell us what government is doing, what government plans to do, and this helps to build confidence in the people. Today, we don't have it any longer. And it's part of the problem that it's existing and is creating this mistrust. So until government begin to do what they should do, they should take development to the local areas. Then we'll continue to have these local people, they will not continue to trust the government officials and the security forces.
Yeah, very quickly. These rural dwellers you mentioned earlier, they are, peasant farmers, and even their husbands are heavy truck drivers. And then you said that that the government should probably take the Shehu Sani's advice by evacuating them to a safer place, and then heavy bombardment, on these places. But, of course, it's going to affect the vegetations, the farmlands, and all of that. And it's possible that these people, these criminals, might also evacuate alongside them. Do you subscribe to the call that Sheik Gumi, who is also acting as a go-between, between the government and the criminals, appears to have more information that the government doesn't have, and so much so that others are calling for his arrest, probably he has more information, because how does he know where they are? How does he know what they want? And, why offering to negotiate, with them?
Yes, with due respect to the revered religious leader, I think that he has so much information because he has access to these criminals, to these bandits. And I think that the security forces should also treat him in that regard. I know that the security forces are giving him some respect because of who he is. But in this regard, he needs to be invited. He needs to be able to provide solution. He has been clamoring over the years, and this has become something that is very suspicious because anytime he comes out to make that comment of negotiation, as soon as possible, there will be a major attack, there will be a major kidnap, which means either that he has a pre-information of any of such attacks, or he has a direct contact with them. Why don't he help this population? Why don't he help the community? Why don't he help the government and help the country by providing this information? I think that for Nigerians who are highly placed, they should also assist and save lives. Instead of talking about negotiating, instead of talking about granting them amnesty and paying them, it's time. It's time that I think that security forces should have a talk with him. Some years I've said, yes, arrest him. But whichever means, let him provide that information that he has that gives him direct access to these people so that it can help to solve this problem once and for all. He's a religious leader, and I'm sure he will not be happy that people he serves as an intermediary with God is being taken away and being kidnapped every day, and their property is stolen from them. And he's there asking for negotiations and mentions very outrageous amounts. It's suspicious.
He never supported that they should be the bandits or the kidnappers or terrorists should not be paid. He never supported it. But the fact that he's offering to be a go-between in order to talk to them and others, which the Christian leaders have also asked that maybe they should be preached to. But do you think these people are worthy of any preaching? Would they want to listen? What kind of preaching do they want to do to them in order for them to change, from their ways?
And on the heels of that, the president is insisting no payment of ransom.
That's right.
Yes, because payment of ransom is emboldening these people. Payment of ransom is helping them to even continue to commit more crime. All over the world, the issue of payment of ransom is being cancelled. Countries do not negotiate or pay ransom because it helps to improve the business. It's business, and I tell you, it's regarded in security as a business that with high profits and low risk. And so, when you continue paying ransom, you are encouraging it to continue. They will not stop, and that is the issue. Yes, what I'm talking about is that I think that since he has enough information, he should support the security forces to get information. He has access to the security commanders. He has access to them. If he thinks that he shouldn't go to them, then let him invite them, let them have talk with him, and let him provide the necessary information. Then
all right.
The issue...
Our time is up, Patrick, unfortunately, but quickly you need to wrap up that thought. The issue you wanted to raise.
Yeah, the issue is that they need to evacuate these people. I support the call that Malam El-Rufai said, the former governor of Kaduna State, that these people must be evacuated. Let there be outright. I know that you talked about vegetation being destroyed, but the lives of people are more important.
All right. That's a fine place to leave this conversation. Patrick Agbambu, President, CEO, Security Watch Africa Initiative, security and public safety expert. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you so much.